everyone. I'm Teddy. I work for a company called Tipalti. I help run the UK partnerships team. And what that means is looking after referral partners, commercial partnerships, community partnerships, and kind of everything in between. I've spent the last 12 years in and around commercial roles, but focusing on partnerships for the last 5 or so. One of the original chapter hosts of Partnership Leaders. I'll let Eleanor introduce herself. But has everyone heard of Partnership Leaders? Put your hands up. Ooh, nice. And then keep your hand up if you are a member. Oh, nice. 4 or 5 of you. Great. If you're not, come to us after. We get nothing out of it. We don't work for Partnership Leaders.
No, we might get an Amazon voucher.
Oh,
You've got to pick your favourite between us, and whoever you pick gets the Amazon voucher.
We were talking to someone at the break of like, oh no, we love Partnership Leaders just because it's a therapy group. You can just vent and complain. So join us if you want. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Eleanor, and I will stop rambling on my intro.
Thank you. I am Eleanor, business psychologist and CEO of Branchworks. We're a specialist partnerships consultancy, so we help companies to generate more revenue with partnerships through partner strategy, partner program, and effective partner management. So, as Teddy said, also co-host of the London chapter for Partnership Leaders. So very excited to go through their Compass report today. As Teddy said, we'll make this as painless as possible.
Well, we hope. So nice big stat over here. So the Compass report, to give a bit of context for those of you that aren't in Partnership Leaders, is an annual report that they do in different variations. They gather information from many different companies of different sizes, from different maturity levels to different types of partnerships. So there is a ton of information in there. Throughout the presentation, we're just going to talk about the high-level stats that I guess we kind of found interesting, that we thought you might find interesting, as well as conversation starters for the breaks and for the networking later. So as you can see on the screen here, a nice big one that we thought was really interesting was that 65% of industry leaders surveyed in the report are seeing more than 20% year-over-year growth in their partnership revenue. Now, for me, I've spent many years in startups, so naturally that number is very relevant for me because there was never a partnership team before I joined. So there was always growth year on year, which is excellent to see. But how many of you are seeing 20% or more year on year growth within your partnership functions? Put your hands up. Oh, only a few.
Great.
Interesting. Great. We'll find that guy at the end.
Yeah.
Everyone wants him on the team and finding all the details. But yeah, throughout the report, we'll go through different details of why that's happened and how the stat came to be.
And just to say as well, the full report is available to all Partnership Leaders members. So you can either buy it or you can become a member and then you get it for free. So, in terms of some key stats that we saw, so 26% of, I can't read this.
It's also on the screen
and I'm
here.
not going to pretend I learned it off by heart. 26% of respondents found that more than half of new customers are influenced or co-sold with partners. Definitely seeing this within the clients that we work with at Branchworks. But in the audience, is anyone seeing more than this? No.
Personally, I think from at Tipalti's angle, we're as partnership people trying to get more and more people included, more and more partners, included in deals. So we're trying to bring that number up. We're not incentivized on influence just yet. Please email my boss. But we're trying to get more and more deals that have partners in play as well. So that number, to me, I thought was pretty low, but I think for over as a whole, it's growing and growing.
Yeah. And I'd say on the next figure of 64% of respondents, close rates above the industry average with partners involved. This has definitely increased since the last report that I saw from them. So partners being involved in deals does increase close rate, and we can see that for a multitude of reasons. You know, leads that come from partners are typically more qualified, so they're not just coming in cold. They've been qualified by the partner. They trust the partner's perspective already, so they're already kind of a little bit further ahead in that sales cycle than a cold lead coming in would be, which is typically why we see a higher close rate when a partner is involved. And they're also supporting that deal cycle on, so you've got more voices that are pointing towards your offering. And then 68% of respondents have seen an increase in average deal size when partners influence a deal. So this is a huge number, and I think definitely when we're talking about encouraging organizations to focus more time, attention, and resources in partnerships, this is why. Like this is huge. Like a lot of companies, we're focused on growing revenue, right? And if we can increase average deal size when a partner is involved, largely because what I said before about, these deals being more qualified, there are more people in that process, but also partners are often wrapping other things in, and therefore the price of your actual offering, they don't see as much. So there is opportunity to stretch and grow that too, which is fantastic. And then finally, we're going to talk about this in a couple of slides in more detail, but 73% of respondents report that their partnership goals now align with company strategy. This is a huge improvement because we've seen for a long time that partnerships strategy has not aligned with the rest of the strategy within the organization. And that means, as I'm sure many of us know, been in this circumstance before, that the partnerships efforts often kind of fall flat because they're not aligned with the all-up strategy of the organization. Over to you. Oh, no, I'm doing this one.
Yeah, you're doing
we practiced, I promise. So the 3 trends that we are going through today for redefining the future of partnership, we're going to go through a little bit about ecosystem marketplaces, how they actually help us generate value at scale. We're going to talk about that stat of aligning strategic partnerships with corporate strategy. So we'll go into a little bit more there about how you can actually do that and kind of get to that point. And then measuring the impact of solution partners to increase customer referrals as well.
Excellent. So to kick things off with the ecosystem marketplaces, we're going to go with a little hands up exercise one more time. I feel like it's getting warmer, so we're nearly there. How many of you have an active partner strategy that involves marketplaces? We can do hands for those. Excellent. So the very question I'll ask Eleanor at the end is all relevant for you then. Perfect. So in the report, there was a lot of, I guess, mixed opinions about marketplaces, whether is it worth the time, is it not worth the time, is it just a simple listing, what does it mean? So within the report, there was a lot of different stats, and I think the one that really stood out to me and Eleanor in particular, as we included at the bottom of the slide, is that many companies are actually underutilizing their potential, with only 54% failing to track the marketplace transactions. So they came together with a group of partnership leaders to come up with a bit of a list, as you can see on the slide over here, on how to stand out in a crowded ecosystem. The one that really stood out to me, I mean, we can all read the slides, so I will not read them all out to you, but the one that really stood out to me, especially in this section, is fostering relationships with internal teams. Now, in my previous role, we had a marketplace listing, had it launched, went through all the cycles, saw all the price ranges, the different incentives, and we're like, okay, cool, now what? And we decided as a team to take it a bit of like a startup approach where we treated a bigger marketplace like it was a smaller partnership. Very hands-on, we multi-threaded. So instead of just speaking purely to the partner manager and the person that we were introduced to, we did a bit of multi-threading. So we had who's in the CS team that's working around partnerships, who's in the implementation team, who's in the co-marketing, and we really mapped out that org and started to do personalized reach outs to those people as well to try to build relationships outside of that single person, because we felt like if we just spoke to that one person, they would have been very helpful, but it would have been more of a, I guess, paper partnership, an announcement, a listing. So we tried to level up a little bit with being creative in a small team that we had. Another one was optimizing and also aligning offerings with the ecosystem priorities. So every marketplace is going to be different. They're going to have different incentives. They're going to have different priorities. So I think a question that should be asked early on in the discovery is, how is the team incentivized? Who's the best performing listing and why? How did they get there? Who's failed and why? And just continue to ask questions about the conversion rates and really, really qualify that. How would somebody get started in a marketplace, Eleanor?
This is a question that I get so many times from our clients, because they're often we work predominantly with kind of Series A to C companies, and that's where they're starting to think about marketplaces. So they've started to think about go-to-market partners, they start to think about channel solutions, etc., and then they think, okay, what about marketplace? Normally prompted by a customer asking them, can I buy this through a marketplace? That is a great trigger point for you. If none of your customers are asking to buy your solution through marketplace, I personally wouldn't spend the time and effort and resource in actually getting onto a marketplace until people start asking for it, because it's a lot of effort to get on there and to maintain. And it's not one of those things, it's good to be aware that it's not one of those things that's going to instantly unlock a load of revenue for you. Like, being on a marketplace can be fantastic for helping you transact more revenue, and eventually you will absolutely get business through it. But it's not going to be something that if you show up tomorrow and go, we're going to put ourselves on the marketplace and that's going to unlock this whole other revenue stream for us, that doesn't quite happen like that. So when your customers start asking for it, great time to start thinking about it. then you want to pick the one that you are hosted your own solution on. And that the marketplaces are now actually mandating that. A couple of them used to be super flexible with this. You used to be able to go onto some of the marketplaces despite not hosting your own solution on their platform. You cannot do that anymore. They are getting really, really locked down on this. So wherever you host your own solution, if you're a SaaS product, that is the marketplace that you go with first. And then I highly recommend working with an agency. There's a couple of marketplace agencies out there. If you want a recommendation, come and speak to me. But they really help you get that listing up and running quickly. They support you with the transactions, and it's a great way to get started.
And I think also the fact there was only 4 hands put up, maybe there were more and they're just being shy, but I think the fact that there's not that many hands, I think it's worth asking, is it worth it, as Eleanor said, but also I think it could be copied and pasted into more of a listing marketplace. So let's say there's another integration software that has a marketplace and a partner directory. I think taking that approach is very similar in those for the companies that might be smaller that might not see the need to go into a reseller marketplace. But I think a lot of the values and the kind of tangible, transferable activities can go into more partner directory based activity as well.
Yeah, and I think what Teddy said as well about fostering those relationships with the internal teams is super important. You know, if you do decide to go on a marketplace, understand what your strategy is post actually getting on the marketplace. If you decide you're going to get on one, you choose one, you work with an agency to get listed, then what do you actually do beyond that? How are you going to foster those relationships to actually make that work? Because you will not get, normally you won't get dedicated partner manager on day one. You have to work towards that. So what are you actually going to do in order to start increasing your revenue so then you get to a point where you have a dedicated partner manager, which will support your growth even further?
Exactly. And taking those wins and those case studies and going to your partner marketing team and trying to build those co-marketing initiatives to have a better together story. Cool. On to the next theme. Which is aligning strategic partnerships with corporate strategy. I think this is a big one, and I think all of us in this room could say that they've had trouble or struggles with getting the right, I guess, C-level expectation setting maybe, or overall business alignment. I think for me, I've worked in startups, scale-ups, and Tipalti's quite a bigger company now, I guess, compared to what I'm used to. And I think all the companies I've worked for had very different perspective of what a partner was. Sometimes it was just purely an integration. They didn't realize it was actually a partnership behind that, which gave me a great opportunity to move from sales into partnerships. And other times, the C-suite completely get it. So at the moment in Tipalti, it's very public knowledge, it's fine. We're moving in terms of where our reporting lines go to be more strategic within the corporate strategy. So originally we were reporting the alliance team, which is about 40 something globally, all to the CRO. And now we're moving to the president, which looks after the CRO, the product officer, the success manager, because they see that we have the highest conversion rate. There's a big potential. Now, it's not perfect yet, but I think having that intention has shifted in the right way.
Yeah, and I think actually understanding some of the stuff that you've just spoken about as well, in knowing your conversion rate, knowing your win rate, knowing some of those stats that we showed for your own company is super important when you're trying to get buy-in as well, in actually getting the C-suite to recognize that what you're doing is really important to get a seat at that table. Quite often, you know, there's a big influx now of chief partner offices. Not every company has them, but that means that there is a whole piece of the business that is missing when it comes to those C-suite meetings. So you're going to have a CRO, a chief commercial officer, chief financial officer. You're going to have all of this C-suite, and partnerships is often missing from that. So either make sure that the person that you're reporting into on the C-suite is very, very aware of what you're doing and the impact of what you're doing, or get a seat in there yourself. Otherwise, it can become very, very difficult to actually get your initiatives off the ground, and they can often conflict with one another. You know, I've worked in plenty of organizations myself, both small and large, and faced very similar problems in both, to be honest. Even now, working with smaller companies, you know, we'll be building a partner strategy, and if we don't get to the sales team to train them quick enough, all of a sudden they've done something that doesn't align with the strategy, and actually bringing them in along the way is super, super important. When I've had a partnership management role before, I remember once I was given a target of doing, I think, 3 partner webinars within the next 6 months or something. But there were 8 of us on the team, all with a target of 3 each, which was far exceeded the marketing team's capacity, because the partnerships team hadn't worked with the marketing team. So I couldn't then hit my targets. The marketing team were very overwhelmed, and they were trying to pick, you know, who they were who they were going to do webinars with. So it's just a small thing like that. Even aligning on, KPIs and the expectations of the team. If you're not aligned internally, very, very difficult to make that work. So you're going to have employees that are unhappy, partners that are unhappy as a result because you've committed to things that you can't then achieve on. And it just, it doesn't work, essentially. So I'm so glad that we've got this stat now, that people are more aligned because they're understanding it. But it's a huge lift to actually get that to work.
Yeah, and I think you can start also quite low down in the totem pole, in the hierarchy. I think working with the sales teams, I'm sure as all of us know, it's not always simple, but you can definitely show the impact by finding one sales rep, moving on to the other one. It might be frustrating and time consuming, but I think that cross-functional collaboration and engagement piece is something that's super crucial, because you might not be as lucky as moving into an org that has a C-suite that understands partners. But if you start to get the sales team to believe and understand what impact the partner has, and also bringing on partners that can help benefit them too. So whenever I join a new org, I think about the customer journey and who, for example, in a tech referral partnership, who are they logging into before and after our platform, and are the sales teams getting objections of product issues of, oh, can you do XYZ? And if they can't, let's find a partner to fill that void. And they start to understand what partners can do and the potential they have. So for me, my biggest priority, especially in a new org, is to really understand the sales team as well. And it helps drive the impact upward as well. It just takes a bit of time.
Yeah, as a new partnerships person into an org, you want to be getting into as many team meetings as possible. Like, first 6 to 8 weeks, I'm joining every sales team's pipeline calls. I'm joining marketing calls. I'm joining things that I have no place in being in initially, because I want them to know and to be asking the questions, are partners involved there? It's mind-blowing to me how many times I've been in a pipeline meeting and I've said, is there a partner involved? And they're like, oh yeah, there is. And it's like, okay, well, let's actually bring this strategy together. So yeah, super important.
Definitely. I mean, we can talk about this one for ages, but we have one more theme, and I think we're nearly at the end of our session, or at least for time's sake.
So measuring the impact of solution partners to increase customer referrals. So despite 89% rating their solution partners highly, 30% of companies still don't measure customer adoption, which is a missed opportunity to prove value. So I think solution partners can be super powerful for an organization, especially if you have, and when we say solution partners, these are often consultancies, delivery partners. We're grouping together quite a big amount of partners here, but they are companies who provide solutions alongside what you offer. And these partners are super important, but because sometimes they resell, often they don't. So a lot of their metrics and their delivery and what they're actually able to do is not tracked. So in terms of what solution partners are seeking in technology partners, and I speak to a lot of solution partners all the time with what we do. One of the first stages that we have as an organization is we go and interview our clients' partners. So as a result, I get to speak to so many solution partners and ask them for their feedback. And it's not always revenue. So many vendors I hear and technology companies are there and saying, well, we give a good amount of, commission, or we give a 10% discount or 20% discount on the product, or we give a commission. And it's rarely what they're incentivized by first and foremost. These solution partners, they want services revenue. They want to deliver great technology to their clients. They want their clients to be able to do and achieve more. The 10-20% that you're giving them is barely anything on their bottom line. They are targeted very, very differently. So actually, they want to be able to deliver innovation to their customers. And that's why, when I'm building partner programs, one of the things that is great to involve is partner advisory councils, or, having your solution partners come in to present to your teams and things like that, because then they get a say and they get to be engaging with your team on a much more strategic level. So actually allowing them to have a say in what your innovation looks like, how you're developing your product, etc., is a great way to do that as well. Obviously, they do care about revenue, referrals and revenue opportunities, and this goes both ways. I see so often, vendors using solution partners as an outsourced BDR function. It's no, pay for one of those. Go and get yourself a BDR organization if that's what you want. If you just want more leads, then you can get that through BDRs. if you want strategic opportunities, if you want organizations that are going to add value to what you do, if you want to create joint value propositions and truly collaborate with other organizations to take a better offering together to market, solution partners are where you want to go. If you just want leads, then go and speak to an agency that can provide those for you. And I speak to so many solution partners who today say, our technology partners just want leads from us constantly, and that's not what we're focused on. We're focused on providing true value and innovation to our clients. So actually taking opportunities back to them is just as important as expecting and wanting opportunities back from them. And then finally, operational simplicity and support. These solution partners partner with many, many organizations. They partner with so many vendors. They are logging into 10, 15 different PRMs. They have, so many different partner programs with different offerings within them. And if you can make yourself simple and provide the best support possible, you will absolutely stand out. I speak to so many solution partners who say, it's actually just really complicated to work with them. I don't really get it. I don't really understand how I register a deal. I don't understand my commission on the deal. One of the partners joked before and said, I think I get an extra 2% commission if I register the deal after 5 p.m. on a Wednesday. And if your partner program is that complex, and they were joking, it wasn't that bad, but this vendor had clearly made their partner program so complex that they had no idea how to actually get commission from these partners, how to add value to them. You've got to hand it on a plate to these solution partners and make it super, super easy for them. One of the things I recommend actually if you're a technology vendor and you're taking your technology to market and you're working with solution partners, is providing a menu of solution offerings that they can wrap around your product. Actually understand what value that these partners can provide to your clients, what your clients are asking for, and hand it to them and say, here's what you can do. For every dollar of SaaS revenue from us, of our revenue, you can probably wrap around $5 to $10 of services. Here's how you do it. Here's how you go to market with it. Let's do a few campaigns together and make it super easy for them to work with you, because not everyone is doing that, and it's going to help you to definitely stand out. So just a few things on what they seek in technology partners.
Nice. I think we have one little slide to wrap it up with our faces and our emails. So if you have any questions, let us know. But I think the overall theme of the presentation is to get creative, keep it simple, and always ask, what does value mean to them? Well, that's it.
Thank you.